So let me now go on to problem number 5, just to give you another quick example of conditional proof in action. In problem number 5, I'm just given a single premise to work with. The conclusion I'm asked to derive is A horseshoe F. So once again, I'll begin with conditional proof by taking on an assumption. And the thing you have to ask yourself here, this problem is fairly simple, but the question that you want to answer for yourself is what assumption should I take on? What information is going to be useful here to complete the problem? And again, our general rule is to assume the antecedent of the conclusion you're asked to derive. So in this case, the antecedent of the conclusion obviously is A, so that will serve as my assumption. Indent, take on that assumption, antecedent to the conclusion you're asked to derive, and the justification is ACP, assumption conditional proof. And so now with my assumption, I've got a little, again, additional ammo to work with, and what it sets up for me immediately is 1 and 2 modus ponens, and I'm able to get out the consequent, not parentheses A or E. Now, again, I'm not going to be able to complete my conditional proof until I get the consequent of the conclusion. The consequent here is F, and this is going to look a little mysterious here, but we've seen something quite similar to this in earlier sections. You'll notice that I don't have an F anywhere to go get. There isn't an F a part of the single premise given to me for me to go break down and isolate. So what that tells me, since there isn't any F here to be had, I know I'm going to have to do addition, followed directly by disjunctive syllogism to break apart that wedge statement. Addition will allow me to introduce a new variable. In this case, of course, I want to introduce the F. And when I do addition, the main operator is going to be the wedge. So I'm going to be able to add on, quote unquote, add on the F to some other statement. I've just got to figure out what to add it on to. The thought process, we've seen this before, is what exactly do I want to add the F onto? Well, I know once I do that addition, the main operator is going to be the wedge, and I'm going to have to break that wedge up with a DS, with a disjunctive syllogism. So what I'm going to want is the negation of the variable that I add the F onto. So I'm going to want something like this, both A and then not A, then I can do my addition followed immediately again by a DS. So we'll return to that thought process here momentarily if it doesn't make perfect sense for you just yet. The next obvious move to make now that I've got line 3 as a result of 1 and 2 MP. With line 3, quite obviously, I can immediately do De Morgan's, fairly straightforward case, distribute and flip. And so we get not A and not E, and that's just simply 3 De Morgan's. What can I do with line 4? Well, the main operator there is the dot, so I can simplify. That'll give me not A by itself, for simp. And now I've got the pattern I was looking for. Of course, nothing magical about A and not A. Any 2 variables would suffice, so long as we have the variable and its negation. Just so happens that it turned out to be A's in this particular problem. So now I'm ready for my addition, first of all, for my addition, followed immediately by DS, to introduce the variable that I'm looking for, in this case, the F. So let's add it on to the second line here, since we have its negation in line number 5. So that'll be my line number 6, A or F, justification to addition. And now 5 and 6, I can do my DS and isolate the variable that I've just introduced, the F. So now I've arrived at the consequent to the conclusion I'm asked to derive, and I'm ready to complete my conditional proof by discharging. So again, to discharge, you unindent and link the first line together with the last line of your conditional proof. In this case, lines 2 and 7, link those 2 together by a horseshoe. So the end result is a horseshoe F, and the justification, I'll seal this off. If I had to continue my problem onwards, I don't here, obviously I'm now finished. My line 8 looks exactly like my conclusion. But if I had to continue on, I wouldn't have access, once I've discharged this conditional proof, I wouldn't have access to any of the lines within the conditional proof. So the justification for this, all of those lines, 2 through 7, and the rule once again is CP conditional proof. And really that's all there is to it. Now fair enough, there are a few additional twists along the way as we get a little deeper into this exercise, but it doesn't get too much more difficult than that.